Another stirring rendition of History of Professor Cho on the subject of the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand. So, Franz Ferdinand.
Probably.
French Ferdinand.
Yeah.
Is
that
anyway,
what Franz means? French?
Yeah, Franz means French. Everybody knows that.
Yeah, I did know that, but when it's a name, I didn't know.
French?
Parlez-vous Francais?
Francais.
Yeah.
Parlez-vous Francais?
Francais.
Yeah, but that's Francais.
Right.
It's not Franz.
Yeah, you're right.
Franz.
Yeah. I don't know what I was thinking.
We French dumb.
Because World War I and World War II are such these huge things, and like here's this event that like is the reason that both of them essentially happened.
But isn't it
I feel like I know so much more about World War II than
Yeah,
World War
right.
I.
Everybody does. Well,
because of the movies.
It's like the Terminator 2 of wars,
Yeah,
you
for
know.
sure. It was
like
the best
way better
one.
than the sequel was better. No, but on that note, I have since, because I'm with you, Russ, I think almost every American at least is the same way, but I've since found out in recent years that like World War I, turns out it didn't hit.
No, it didn't hit.
But no, World War I was like brutal and horrific.
Probably worse.
And like
there's a lot more footage of World War II.
Yeah,
right. That's a huge part of it. And also World War II had Hitler, it had Thanos, you know what I mean?
That's right. Yeah,
They had their Thanos or Voldemort or whatever.
But
Bond
like
villain,
World War I is the origin story of why he becomes Thanos and shit. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
prequel.
Like World War I is
prequel.
World War I is like Iron Man or you know Iron Man 2 or Avengers or whatever. It's the first team up, and then we're building to fucking Thanos, which is Hitler. And heir to the Habsburg throne, Franz Ferdinand was supporting an initiative called Trialism, which would see the Slavic lands combined into a third part of the monarchy. This was unacceptable to a number of groups. Probably the Bosnians.
Yeah, I'm sure. Dude, they stayed annexed and stuff.
And then they were like,
annex,
what?
Annex is a funny word for like take your shit
right.
and make
it's such
it
a
our
nice
shit.
word.
Yeah, right.
Well, we're
Like,
just
oh,
annexing
We're just going to annex
Super
them.
nice.
And it's like, oh, you mean fucking destroy and colonialize them?
Almost every war that has been started is, of course, because of someone trying to annex someone else's land. And every time it happens, it's like, how are there even two sides to this argument?
Right.
Like
you ought not do that.
You
ought not annex.
And
we need to stop annexing.
And their thought process is always like, but you don't understand. They don't hit. They need us to do all this stuff. And it's like, yeah, you think that, but
it'll hit for them. It'll hit for them to be annexed.
So this was, like I said, unacceptable to a number of groups, including the Black Hand, a secret Serbian nationalist society. The word nationalist, man, really gets put through. I feel like anytime you see nationalists, like
that means they don't hit.
Yeah, and like but I'm saying like the word itself, you're like, yeah, you should be for your nation and stuff like that. But like when you really get down to the brass tacks of it, it's just like, it's just complete xenophobia.
Everything should be our nation.
Yeah, right, exactly.
If you ain't our nation, you don't hit.
Right.
Right.
In the months leading up to June 1914, the group began to lay the foundations for the assassination of Archduke Franz Ferdinand, working to get a hold of weapons and training those who would carry out the plan. A young Bosnian Serb, sounds like a slur, named how'd you say it? Danilo Ilic? Was that the guy you said?
No, I said Gavrilo Princip.
Oh, yeah, that's the guy who actually fired the shot.
Okay, yeah, all right.
And this is the guy that was in charge of the operation and the 6 men who were chosen to carry it out.
Okay,
so
all right.
that is the background on why these motherfuckers are trying to even do this shit. So Franz Ferdinand himself, and I feel like I keep saying this with a lot of these dudes, that he was actually painted in a pretty good light. Like he was they said he was a pretty warm guy. Granted, everything that his country was trying to do military-wise was fucking shit and horrible, but he himself was just like, let's keep the peace, let's fucking... He was also a general in the army, because back then, the president or king actually had to serve and shit like that, which, like, nowadays, like, dude, like, can you imagine one of our presidents actually on the front lines of something, or even in the country when a war was going on? But back then...
Yeah, I mean, well, you know, our president is also the commander-in-chief of the armed forces.
Right, but
he's not going to
but they did that shit.
Yeah.
Like back then, like George Washington was the leader of America, and he was also on the front of the boat holding the goddamn flag.
With his leg up like this.
Yeah, showing them calves off,
Leg
baby.
up,
Look
yeah.
out. How much them
That's
calves?
apparently that was the hittingest way to ride in a boat back then.
With your
like
calf.
if you hit, you was on a boat, you had to have your leg up like this.
Look here.
That shit was an Instagram post.
With your chin. Yeah, it was. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. And so all this bullshit with the Bosnian shit's going on, the Black Hand, like they've kind of got some secret intel about that, but they don't know exactly what's going to happen. It was reported that they were like, Franz, we don't know that you really need to go on this streetcar ride. In this period, in the late 19th, early 20th century, assassination was just some shit. They were just like, yeah, you'll probably get assassinated today. Like, if you go out and you're this dude, it's a good chance that you will get assassinated.
Yeah, his security forces were just like, what are you going to do?
What are you going to do? You might get assassinated. Yeah. So they're going to go on this ride.
Our cars don't even have roofs on them. Like,
yeah, right.
We can't help it.
So he's going out on this ride. All the Black Hand motherfuckers are like, all right, this is our moment. We know where this dude is going to be. And as you said earlier, this one motherfucker throws a bomb like at the car. But unfortunately for him, it banked off the car and went directly under the car behind him and blew that motherfucker smooth up. So they're just sitting there driving. Boom, some shit blows up. Obviously, he knows, like, I'd say that they weren't trying to kill them. You know what I mean? That's
right.
That's probably meant for me.
Yeah. Yeah, right. It's like they bombed Larry.
What the fuck did Larry
it's
do?
Weird that somebody would bomb Larry. But hey, what are you gonna do?
And then Franz, being again the soft-hearted man that I said that he was earlier, they were like, okay, listen, Your Majesty, there's clearly an attack going on. They are clearly coming after you.
Yeah.
We need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
And he's just like, but I must. How do they talk? He talks to Arnold Schwarzenegger, right?
I guess, yeah.
Austro-Hungary? Yeah.
We have to get to the hospital.
Yeah.
Get to the hospital.
Yeah, get to the hospital.
Larry.
Get there now. Get there now, Larry.
Get out, Larry. It's my duty, like, as, you know, king or archduke or whatever, like, I've got to go check on these motherfuckers. Like, they were clearly blown up because of me, and he felt extreme guilt over all of this. They get about halfway down there, and Franz Ferdinand is just like, wait a minute, hold on now. We're going, this is the same fucking road we're on to. This ain't how you get to the hospital. And they were like, what? And the driver's like, oh shit, we're going to the hospital? And he's like, yeah, okay. And so he goes to.
I thought we was going back to the murder spot.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Check on Larry, you know, see his blood spot. So he goes to turn around, and like back then in a car, that was like a whole thing, like turning around. It wasn't like you just, it wasn't like you were just like, So like there's this whole thing going on, and it kind of causes a commotion. And like, because of that, everybody's just like, wait, hold shit, that's Franz Ferdinand. You know what I'm saying? And they go to turn up this other road, and and who just happens to coincidentally, who was walking from that street to this other street was
Gavrilo Princip.
And he's just like, who had failed at bombing these motherfuckers.
Yeah, right.
And then he turns around and he's just like, oh shit, fucking fumble.
Yeah.
Pick it up.
Yeah.
Run in. He just turns around with his pistol. Pop, pop, pop. Just fucking hits Franz Ferdinand right in the jugular. Hits fucking Sophia right in the stomach. Kills them motherfuckers. Smooth dead on the spot. So Bosnia does this, and then Hungary is like, we're going to fucking war with Bosnia. And I'm probably getting a lot of this wrong, but then Russia is like, oh, Bosnia, we got you, right? And then Germany is like, fuck that, Hungary, we got y'all. And then because of just like those four countries and how the axis and the powers fucking be, everybody then has to jump in, because it's like, you know, if me and you were at a bar and somebody starts hitting me, you got to hit them.
Yeah.
You're my boy.
Yeah.
So all that happened.
I hit that guy, and then their boys
got to hit
me.
Right. And then everybody in the bar's in a fucking fight.
Yeah, right.
And that's how it happened. And that's why fucking World War I got started.
I mean, I feel like you nailed that.